Hey, what's up? I don't really have an intro for this, but I'm just gonna say, um, watching my last video on Muffins Remastered, the plot, that's not required. Also, there are obviously gonna be spoilers for this, so you've been warned. Chapter 1, Sweetness Among the Stones. Minky and Maud, as young fillies, are showcased as characters, including their bond and rivalry. Igneous is the abusive one, and despite being strict, Cloudy actually loves all of her daughters, even Minky. He's also pissed off that he hasn't got a son yet that can take over the farm. Chapter 2, Dark Side of the Moonstone. Rinkie Pie grows to hate her twin, who is seen as a good little rock farmer, while she herself is not. Due to the abuse, Minky acts out more, which makes her parents punish her, which makes Maud behave better, and the cycle repeats. Cloudy still loves Minky, but her parenting style grows more strict in order to combat Minky attacking herself, her family members, random strangers, and wild animals. Igneous sees Minky as evil and tries to make Cloudy think her difficult pregnancy was the start of the curse that Minky was sent by the devil to punish them. And I've already got a headache. God damn it. He even makes a comment about how her color scheme is darker than the rest of the family, which means she's some kind of shadow creature in disguise. Cloudy argues against this, stating that Minky is just an innocent filly and that she needs to be put on the right path. Twins Inky and Blinky are born, and Minky tries to visit them, intrigued and eager to have a friend or two, but Igneous discovers her and gets angry with her. He is the one to put her in the secret basement. Okay, I mentioned in the other video that the basement is not the cellar. It's this thing called a disappointments room. Actually, let me look this up. Yeah, there's a movie based off of it, but I don't know if it was ever an actual thing. History. Hidden or small attic rooms in Victorian-era homes used by wealthy families to hide children born with the physical or mental disabilities, sparing the family home shame. Yeah. When Cloudy questions why Minky is missing the next morning, Igneous tells her that she probably ran away, angry that the twins were born. Cloudy is devastated and goes looking for her, despite still being sore from giving birth, but doesn't find anything. She even reports to the local sheriff that Minky is missing. However, Maud witnessed everything Igneous did and chooses to be the perfect little rock farmer and daughter for her parents, too scared to tell Cloudy the truth, though she feels horrible for both her sister and her mother and vows to rescue Minky one day when she's big and strong. Chapter 3, Curiosity Kills. Inky and Blinky are now 4 and Pinky is 2. One of them accidentally ventures a bit too close to the basement and is shooed away by Cloudy. Igneous threatens to kill both Cloudy and Minky, age 10, if Cloudy tells the other children about their oldest sister. Neither of them know that Maud remembers her twin or is aware of her fate. Inky and Blinky theorize about the basement before getting distracted and choosing to wander off. They end up getting lost and have to be brought back home by a neighbor, where their parents scold them. Chapter 4, Song in My Heart. Rinkie Pie teaches Pinky, now 8, not to be afraid of the dark, and the next morning lures parasprites away from the rock farm with flute music. Inky and Blinky are 10, while Maud and Minky are 16. Just make sure the math is right. Chapter 5, A Rock and a Hard Place. Rinkie Pie gets her cutie mark in a different way than Muffins, but it's still a geode. I haven't really figured that out yet. Chapter 6, For Once in the Limelight. Blinky Pie gets her cutie mark and Granny Pie dies after retrieving the gold. The family holds a funeral for her at the church and Blinky feels guilty. Chapter 7, Poetic Justice. Maud Pie gets her cutie mark after writing a poem about Minky. She writes another one and pretends that's the only one. And the sisters start getting aggressive toward their father. Chapter 8, The Cupcake Chronicles. Shortly after getting her cutie mark, Pinky's parents send her away to Mr. and Mrs. Cake, and she gets groomed into becoming a killer. Her first victim is a random filly around her age. She also meets Applejack, Fluttershy, and Rarity in her new schoolhouse and is quick to befriend them, becoming particularly close with Applejack, as well as her family. The parents even show Pinky the twisted-up trees that were planted the day of their wedding. If you've seen the... what's it called? The episode about Applejack's parents, you'll know what I'm talking about. Chapter 9, Sunset Upon the Orchard. Applejack and Rinkie Pie are rescued from a timber wolf in the Everfree Forest by Bright Mac and Pear Butter, only for the adults to die in the process. Pinky feels guilty, feeling like she's surrounded by death. Chapter 10, When the Balloons Pop. Rinkie Pie commits her first semi-solo kill while being supervised by Mrs. Cake. She ends up crying, traumatized by what she's done, but Mrs. Cake comforts her and praises her. Chapter 11, Crumbling Rubble. Time skip to when Pinky is 14, Inky and Blinky are 16, and Maud and Minky are 22. Igneous does something particularly heinous to one of his family members, and Blinky Pie throws a small hand axe at him, showcasing the downfall of the Pie family. Chapter 12, The Darkness Inside. Rinkie Pie visits the rock farm and teaches her sisters about her secret hobby. Inky and Blinky jump at the chance, but Maud is more hesitant. Chapter 13, Love at First Bite. I don't know why I'm talking so quietly. Hopefully the mic is picking it up. Rinkie Pie falls in love with Stella Burst and accidentally kills her while trying to preserve her beauty. Her being a teenager and new to killing gives this storyline an excuse to happen. If you've seen the original Muffins, this is based on Inky's stellar obsession, and she's an adult there, so I don't really get that. She was killing for like 10 years. At one point, Blinky Pie gets jealous of Stella's beauty and almost cries, so her sisters comfort her. Stella is surprised to see their compassion after being so sadistic with her victim, and offers to help them like in the original story. Chapter 14, Sunny Disposition. Twilight and Spike moved to Ponyville the day of the Summer Sun celebration, and Pinkie Pie, now 18, is intrigued by them. I keep hiccuping. Fuck. Inky and Blinky are 20, and Maud and Minky are 26. Maud remained at home the whole time, having planned to take over the rock farm and make sure Minky was freed, slowly but surely getting physically and mentally stronger. Chapter 15, Broken Chains. Maud confesses to Cloudy her knowledge and guilt about Rinkie Pie, even showing her the poem she made as a filly, and they decide to free her from the basement late one night, introducing her to Inky and Blinky. Minky barely moves or says a word due to trauma and shyness. Maud admits she feels like a failure for not rescuing her sooner, and that she's always felt like a bad sister. Chapter 16, Slumbering Bats. Minky stays in a cave near the house for a few weeks, slowly recovering physically. Her family members care for her, show her love, and get to know her, aside from Igneous, who has no idea she escaped. While Cloudy is absent, Rinkie Pie ends up telling Minky about the baking and asks if she'd like to join. She doesn't really understand, but once they explain it to her, she becomes intrigued. Chapter 17, Chip Off the Old Rock. One stormy night, the Pie sisters kill Igneous Rock and feed his baked remains to Cloudy. They also send a cupcake in the mail to Pinkie Pie and inform her about Minky's existence. Chapter 18, A Sense of Normalcy. Maud leads Minky to a lovely meadow in rock country where they can relax and talk, a place with rare color in rock country. Okay, why did I say rock country twice? And I didn't even capitalize one of them. She teaches her about some insects and plants. The Pie family is interrupted from their daily routines by a surprise visit from Pinkie Pie, who's excited to meet and learn all about her eldest sister. Minky, meanwhile, is very shy, quiet, and jumpy. Chapter 19, Lifelong Dream. Minky spends time with Inky and Blinky, having a sleepover and even watching a horror movie. I don't think Rock Country would have horror movies, so maybe Pinkie gave it to him. They wouldn't have a TV either, I don't think. The chapter ends with Inky starting to help Minky relearn the alphabet. Chapter 20, Mother Dearest. Minky spends some time with Cloudy Quartz, who braids her long, pretty hair. Okay, the reason I have so many random chapters where characters are just hanging out is because Muffins basically had none of that, which always annoyed me. So I wanted to make the Bakers seem more like family and like actually friends. Chapter 21, Meanie Mouth Mayhem. After the party in Griffin the Brush Off, Pinkie Pie enacts Plan B. She kills Gilda, who is super rude about it. This is based off that one comment in Cupcakes where Pinkie calls Gilda a meanie mouth. Surprisingly, I haven't seen many fanfics where Pinkie kills Gilda. I guess people forgot that happens. Chapter 22, Diamond in the Rough. After getting her show destroyed and being run out of town, Trixie works for the Pie family in exchange for a home. She has trouble figuring out how to farm rocks, so Cloudy helps her. Sorry, I got distracted by thoughts about the story. Chapter 23, Building Bridges. Trixie tries to bond with the Pie sisters, but finds them all pretty creepy, especially Minky. However, they're fascinated by the fact that she's a unicorn, as that's pretty rare in Rock Country, like Pegasi, and does magic tricks, which makes her feel appreciated. She eventually confesses her dislike and jealousy toward Twilight, who is better at magic. Rinkie Pie remembers the mention of Twilight from one of Pinky's letters. Chapter 24, A Glimmer of Hope. The Pies and Trixie moved to Ponyville, using the gold nugget to pay for her house down the road from Sugar Cube Corner. Pinky's friends are off-put by the Pie sisters. Off-put? Is that a phrase? Hold on. Oh, wrong fucking button. Maybe it's just a colloquialism. Pinky's friends are put off by the Pie sisters, but still try to be polite. Minky pets Rainbow Dash's mane at one point, fascinated by the colors and unaware of social norms. Rarity cuts Minky's hair for her. Oh god, I read that wrong. I thought Rarity cuts Minky for touching Rainbow Dash. That'd be funny. Chapter 25, Minky Markless. Pinky encourages Minky to join the newly formed Cutie Mark Crusaders, who are surprised to find that adults can be blink flanks. Diamond Tiara mocks them at some point, but Minky uses her creepy smile of them, already thinking of ways to torture her. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I thought it'd be really cute if Minky was friends with the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Especially since she doesn't have a Cutie Mark either. Have I figured out Cutie Mark yet? I can't remember. Chapter 26, Twinkles and Sprinkles. Pinky invites Trixie onto her team, and her mind immediately jumps to killing Snips and Snails, so their numbers are pulled. She and Pinky make a show out of it with puns, magic tricks, etc. Chapter 27, Free Like a Butterfly. Fluttershy takes Rinkie Pie flying and teaches her about various animals. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Derpy isn't in this story, so... Chapter 28, Everfree Investigation. Inky and Blinky discover the castle of the two sisters while exploring the Everfree forest and decide to tell Pinky about it, who already knows. Has she not told them about Luna yet? Like, I feel like that would be part of the story, but whatever, I don't care. Inky and Blinky also become their cannon counterparts after having a run-in with Poison Joke, as well as meet Sakura. Chapter 29, Pop of Color. The Pie sisters are startled yet fascinated by Rainbow Dash's sonic rainbow. Minky is inspired to paint what she saw so she can see it forever, but has trouble remembering the order of the colors, so Pinky helps her. Chapter 30, Deflated Balloons. Party of One happens but with the Bakers thrown in. Having never witnessed Pink Amina, Trixie is startled and concerned that she might try to hurt herself or others. Part 2 will be in a separate fic. Oh, I just got blinded. Chapter 31, Gold and Silver. What is it called that again? Inky and Blinky, plus Pinky and Maud, each pair up to participate in sisterhood social. Why can't I speak? As she still isn't up to full strength, Minky watches from the sidelines with Trixie. Chapter 32, History Repeats. The Bakers meet Mr. and Mrs. Cake's new babies, Pound and Pumpkin, who are both Earth ponies because fuck you. Minky's... Sorry, I heard a weird sound outside. Minky is visibly nervous, knowing what happened last time she encountered a baby, especially twin babies. The others assure her that she won't be punished. Chapter 33, Seed No Evil. Minky kills Babs after she's mean to the CMC, who simply assume Babs went home without saying goodbye. Chapter 34, End of the Rainbow. After Rainbow Dash gets accepted into the Wonderbolts Academy, Rinkie Pie panics and kidnaps her, killing her and taxidermying her remains with the help of the other bakers. For the first time since she was a filly, she starts to doubt herself and her actions, but she doesn't tell Pony. The chapter ends with Scootaloo frantically searching for Dash a few days later, and Minky comforts her, assuring her that she'll be back soon and has no reason to leave. Reminding her of the Wonderbolts Academy. I had to be reminded too, I guess. Chapter 35, Crackling Confidence. Twilight starts to become paranoid and confides with her remaining friends, including Spike and Pinky. Pinky ends up crying, but no pony questions it. Chapter 36, Twin-to-Twin Connection. Maud and Minky babysit the Cake Twins. Having never really interacted with the baby before, Minky is fascinated and tries her best to be perfect. Chapter 37, Thorn in My Side. Diamond Tear and Silver Spoon are killed on the same day. Chapter 38, The Apple of My Pie. Rinkie Pie finds out she's confirmed to be related to the Apple family, so the Pies, including Cloudy, are invited to the upcoming Apple family reunion, which occurs in the same chapter. Minky, the most introverted of the bunch, nearly has a panic attack. Chapter 39, The Super Duper Party Pony. Cheese Sandwich visits Ponyville in order to liven up the town and is happy to meet his idol Rinkie Pie. Blinky is particularly grumpy toward the guy because of his attitude. Chapter 40, Devilish Delights. Starlight becomes an ally for the bakers after Pinky delivers sweets to her town and accidentally comes across the vault of cutie marks. Pinky and Starlight are intrigued by how the other removes cutie marks. Starlight locks her town in cages to starve to death. This probably won't be final, but whatever. And then moves to Ponyville, eager to become a baker. Chapter 41, The Darlings of Destiny. The CMC all earn their less ugly cutie marks at once somehow. Also, Princess Cadence's pregnancy is announced on the newspaper. As you can tell, this Muffins Remastered plotline is going alongside the canon timeline, because sometimes I like writing, what's the word? You know how there's 2 episodes in season 3 that happen at the same time? At least I think it was season 3. Chapter 42, Pop Rocks. The main attraction, but in the Muffins universe. Sweetie Belle becomes Color Chore's apprentice, and Verity is super proud of her. Chapter 43, Drop Dead Gorgeous. Starlight assists in Verity's torture, and Pinky starts to doubt herself again. Blinky Pie notices but doesn't say anything, assuming it's just a one-time occurrence. Chapter 44, Bittersweet. The Cake family moves away to Las Pegasus, and Pinky throws them a farewell party. Twilight is hesitant to go, due to not wanting to leave the house, but Spike tells her they'll be fine since they're in public. However, Starlight keeps giving her creepy looks. Chapter 45. Unassuming Spiderweb. Rinkie Pie gets her cutie mark, a spider making a web around a black log. And the bakers and CMC throw a little party. Rinkie sends a letter to the cakes about it. Now, I'm not really sure how she gets it, but I thought it would be really, really nice and fitting. Always thought her original cutie mark in Muffins was stupid, and kind of boring, so I added a little spice to it. And I want to do more for her backstory that isn't just, oh, I got my cutie mark and being damaged. Chapter 46, fitting right in. Starlight spends some time with each of the bakers to get to know them. She finds herself getting along best with Trixie and even becomes a magic mentor for her. Now, I imagine Starlight went to magic school and was one of the best students. Also, I actually don't like Starlight, after she's performed, so I kept her evil. I feel like she'd be way more fun. And plus, it actually makes sense for the bakers to be powerful if Starlight is one of them. Not that I made them super Mary Sue-ish or anything, but, I kept it realistic. As realistic as a bunch of talking ponies can be. Chapter 47. Roadkill and the Reluctant Poacher. The bakers are divided on whether or not they should kill Fluttershy, so they compromise by removing her name from the system and killing a pony who acts similar to her. As sadistic as Inky, Blinky, and Starlight are, they're afraid of what Discord would do if he found out they hurt Fluttershy. Chapter 48. Calm Before the Storm. Twilight convinces Applejack to help her investigate the current empty Sugar Cube Corner, since that's where ponies seem to last be seen. However, they don't find anything. Twilight suspects that Pinkie or one of her sisters are involved since they live at Sugar Cube Corner, and or the cakes since they moved away in the middle of everything. There's cute little Cozy Glow. It's funny, Cozy Glow is my favorite while Starlight is my least favorite. And they're on the same team. Chapter 49. Life Raft. Celestia opens the School of Friendship. Inky and Blinky think it's a really stupid idea, but Minky is intrigued and decides to enroll. She ends up meeting a particular fellow student that she can relate to, Cozy Glow. I haven't really come up with Cozy or Starlight's backstories yet, but I imagine they both have pretty rough lives. Chapter 50. A Long Time Coming. Snapshutter and Ming Allgood tried to take Scootaloo away from Ponyville in order to keep her safe, only to be killed by the bakers before the CMC can enact their plan from the episode. Minky goes on a rant about parent neglect. Chapter 51. Where Your Loyalty Lies. Applejack has a chat with Pinkie about their love for the Apple family, including Bright Mac and Buttercup, to test her, and brings up the Twisty Trees. Yet again, Pinkie doubts herself and her actions. She nearly ends up confessing to Applejack, only for her Pinkie sense to go off, warning her of immediate danger. Yeah, I didn't really like Pinkie's sense in canon, so I adjusted it a little bit. Also, I gave the other Pie sisters their own Pie sense, but I haven't come up with specifics yet. I imagine one of their parents has it too. Applejack, recognizing the sign, asks her what's wrong and even looks around, but nothing happens. Pinkie giggles nervously and makes up an excuse. Chapter 52. Severed Ties. Applejack is finally kidnapped and killed. Pinkie struggles to torture her properly and starts wondering if she should tell some pony about what she's been doing. One of the bakers even gets annoyed with her and tells her to focus. Twilight sends the royal guards to investigate and all the bakers are arrested, except Pinkie and Starlight for whatever reason. Yeah, that's not just me pulling a Ratana, I just haven't figured out the reason yet. I will add one. Applejack's death hits Pinkie hard. Chapter 53. Questioning Everything. The bakers are put on trial and sentenced to death row. The CMC are upset that Minky had a hoof in killing their loved ones, so they kick her out of the Cutie Mark Crusaders, but she tries to justify her actions. At the end of the chapter, Pinkie asks Starlight if what they're doing is right, and Starlight convinces her that they should keep going, even saying that Twilight deserves to be finished off. Pinkie remembers Minky telling her about the School of Friendship, and has the idea to recruit Cozy Glow. She's hesitant at first since Cozy is a filly, but then remembers her own childhood and goes through with it. Chapter 54, The New Status Quo. Cozy Glow helps the others out of prison in exchange for helping them kill. The plan succeeds and they all hide out in the castle in the forest, which had been tidied up by Twilight and her friends weeks ago. Chapter 55, Fruitful Harvest. Cozy leads the torture session of a Pegasus named Strawberry Sunrise with the help of the other bakers. They're surprised by how violent she is, using creative methods to inflict large amounts of pain. In fact, she gets so carried away that Strawberry dies from shock. Yeah, I thought this would be a better idea than whatever Babs does, because it just fits Cozy more as a character. Also, in case you don't know, Strawberry Sunrise is this pony. That's not a fucking pony, come on. Yeah, this bitch. This recolor of various background ponies. She does not look good with wings, I'm sorry. Chapter 56, Dead and Gone. Big Mac and his family pack up and move to Appaloosa. Pinkie tries to remain cheerful as she throws them a farewell party. Chapter 57, Oncoming Rain Clouds. Insert another death here. At the end, Cozy proposes the idea of destroying Ponyville and killing the princesses. Again, this idea is more fitting of Cozy Glow to say, considering what happened in the show. They brush it off as ridiculous, but Starlight gets curious and starts entertaining the idea. Chapter 58, Ghost Town. The bakers commit the 3 days of destruction. Starlight ends up causing the most damage due to her powerful magic. They soon learn that Twilight has become a royal guard. She and Starlight do quite a bit of damage to each other, but both end up surviving and retreat. Chapter 59, Legend of the Pie Sisters. Once everything quiets down, Pinkie finally breaks down and realizes how badly she's fucked up. Her mane remains flat throughout the rest of the story. She willingly turns herself into Twilight and the royal guards, who bring her to Celestia, and she confesses everything, even ratting out the cakes and mentioning that Minky has the mind of a child due to her upbringing. Celestia ordered that the cakes be hunted down. Minky and Cozy Glow are put into a rehabilitation program, as well as remaining at the School of Friendship. Cozy, as well as various other children, are placed in the orphanage, and the rest of the bakers are executed on death row, all except flat-maned Rinkie Pie, who's trapped in stone and labeled as corrupted laughter. The elements of harmony are currently in Celestia's control, as most of the main 6 are unavailable. A large memorial statue for the main 6 in their prime is built in Counterlot, and at the end of the chapter, Twilight looks at it and cries. Chapter 60, Epilogue. The bakers on death row are executed a few years later. Twilight, now an alicorn, stands in the crowd next to the now reformed Rinkie Pie and Cozy Glow, having been adopted at some point, probably by Shining Armor and Princess Cadence, as well as Celestia. Cloudy mourns the corruption and loss of her daughters, deciding to take her own life out of guilt. As for this, I'm not sure if she should do this or stay alive for Rinkie Pie. I'm not sure. Insert something about Philly Lester Dawn being Twilight's new friendship student here, stated to be the future element of magic. And that's it. Yeah, I haven't really written much for this. I mean, most of it is left over from the previous Muffins Remastered, but regardless, I hope you enjoyed it. See ya.